Hello folks, today we're going to talk about my latest addition. It's a 1938 Plymouth Deluxe four-door sedan. The model would be a P6. It's a flathead six-cylinder, of course, three-speed manual with reverse manual clutch. Rear suicide doors. Maybe I'll walk you guys around a little bit. This engine you see here, that is the original engine. It's a 201 cubic inch flathead 6. The engine, the serial number also starts with a P6. I think it gave up that engine in about 1965 or so, and it was pulled, and they found it had a cracked head, and it's stuck with the car since the mid-60s. Pretty much the same owner until it changed hands recently and I acquired it. Just doing a quick walk around on the car here. I'll show you some features of it. When the engine was pulled, a D24, that's a later 40s Dodge engine. I can't recall the exact displacement. I think it was maybe around 218 or so. I'll know when I get to it and look it up. This is an early model 1938 car. Early on in production, the headlights were mounted higher up here on the front and forward. We're pretty much, well past the radiator here. And I guess there was a bit of pushback from consumers. They didn't really like that. They didn't like the look of it. I guess I heard comments that might have been bug-eyed or something I read online. And then later, halfway through production, they moved them down and back. The Dodges, I think they were mounted on the fender here, but they moved the light down and back to give it a little bit more friendly look. I guess the people preferred. Kind of cool that they had it already figured out that, fog lenses would be amber, I guess. It's kind of neat. I didn't know that by 1938. I think those are a stock option. Down here we've got a access hole for a hand crank for the engine. And sadly, this little door here is missing. It's very hard to find, I hear, almost impossible. The car was stored outside for a while in the last few years, and somebody came along and pried that right off the car. I hear they're so hard to find, there's a pretty high dollar for them, so I guess somebody wanted to do something dishonest and steal it off this car, sadly. I may never find one, but they also tried to get this Plymouth logo here. It's a little loose. They've damaged it slightly. I might be able to do something with that. We'll see. It's got the sailing ship on it from Plymouth, Massachusetts. It's kind of what it symbolizes. The Mayflower, and they came over on the Mayflower ship and landed in Plymouth Rock, Massachusetts. It's a pretty neat place to go if you haven't been there. It's a neat ship. And here you've got the ship on the front again. That's the Mayflower. Compartment, split hood, which is kind of cool. I like. Don't know what you can see down there. It's pretty dark. We got our horn here. It looks like engine oil filters here. Generator, 6-volt positive ground system. Of course, the wiring's a bit of a mess. This D24 engine is it says D24 something there. I'll figure it out. It's a little bit longer. This is like I think it's about 1.5 inches longer than the stock 201 engine. So the previous owner had that engine installed and moved the radiator slightly forward, and I think they put a radiator out of a Dodge, or no, sorry, a Chevy truck in here, mid-60s Chevy truck. And it works. It's a little bit more power. It's probably a little bit better performing, a little more fun to drive. Clip-on mirrors, vacuum wipers mounted overhead, one-piece windshield. This is the first year they didn't offer the pop-out windshield. In 1937, there was a lever here and you could open it up for venting. They added this, I understand. I don't know if it's the first year in the Mopar line, but it is the first year that the Plymouths got this vent. For this model anyways. And you open it up inside and it brings fresh air in the cab, of course. Something a little different I haven't seen before. The window here, the pop-out windows. There's I don't know, see if I can open them here. When you open them, there's no bar here, which is kind of neat. Probably leak like a sieve when it rains, but, and which is why probably later they went to a metal bar, but it's not going to see the rain when I get through it. It was repainted in the 60s when the engine was changed, is my understanding, somewhere around that time. The previous owner, that he finally let it go, he aged and he had to sell it for health reasons. He couldn't drive anymore. He bought it in about 1965 or so from the original owner, who bought it new in 1938. He changed the engine and he painted it. He didn't have all the storage space that he wanted, and he was going to put it outside for a while, so he put a paint job on it and did a little bit of crummy body work. It's not great. There's some, the paint is, I don't know what it's based. It seems like an oil-based paint or something. It's cracking here and there's some bubbling. And there's, no, the frame is fairly solid. It's actually not as rusty as what I would expect from a 1938 car. So I got some good bones here to work with, I think. Inside, I don't know if you can see anything in here. Got an interesting suicide knob here. It's recessed in, so it sits level with the steering wheel, so you don't catch your arm on it. This is neat. It's a Firestone AM radio, aftermarket, bolted in. 3-speed, like I said here, big shifter knob. Got a heater package, and it has a heating system that actually blows air up to the vents here on the window, so I can defrost. Gauges all seem to work. Fuel, oil, amps, heat, cigarette lighter. Dual glove boxes. I haven't been able to open this one yet. I'll get to it. Horn. What do we got here? Headlights, panel lights, choke, and throttle. Interesting. So I got one. That's the lever for opening the hood. It seems to be stuck. I'll get to that. The interior is original. It's a bit of a mess. It's the headliner. It's very moldy and musty in here. Headliner is starting to tear. I'll hopefully swap. I'll get to all this shit here. Get it sorted out. The seat cushion. Someone sewed some flannel here. Battery compartment. 6-volt battery, of course. This is a cool little feature. Suicide doors. The back interior seems original. A nice footrest here. Carpet. Again, like I said, no rust here. Seat cover. It's coming apart, but it's dusty. I like the split window. That is pretty cool. Now, this being a deluxe, they offered a business model, and the main difference from the outside is the only thing you can see is the deluxe had a window vent here, as you can see. I can open it, and the business version did not. It didn't have these window vents. The seat is very actually comfortable. It needs to be recovered. I'll get to that. But you sit in it and you just recline nicely. I got lots of leg room. I got a nice little rope handle here. I've never seen that before. That's cool. Little handles. Little hook for clothes, I guess. Original interior, like I said. Stinky. I gotta find, if anybody knows where I can get some door handles, I'm gonna look. I'm missing the window winders for the rear windows. Both sides are gone. And it's a solid little car. Spent a lot of its life stored indoors somewhere. Fuel cap. It's got 2 brake turn signal lamps. I don't know if that's original. On the back here, we've got the Plymouth logo again. I was also informed, I read somewhere online, that this is the only year that they had the Plymouth logo on the back, is 1938. After that, they didn't have that logo there anymore, which is kind of cool. The ship, it says Plymouth on it. Light for the license plate. I got spare parts in there. The car came with a bunch of spare parts. Trunk is pretty good. Needs a new seal. There's some rust in this area. Down in here, it was patched up. I see Bondo over it. Somebody just went really cheap in 1965. But you know what? I think the price was right for what it is. It's going to be a fun car. I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm going to focus on the powertrain first. It's really weak to turn over, even with a new 6-volt battery in it. I tried my spare. I took the battery out of my Windsor here, and I put it in there, and it didn't crank over fast at all. So I'll probably get the starter rebuilt, and then I will probably clean up all the ground connections and clean up some wiring. It ran. We had it running. I drove it when I loaded it, so I know it runs. It runs very smooth too, actually. After the throttle, it needs time to warm up. It's a little dry at throttle, or not dry, a little rough at startup. So we'll get to that. Anyways, we're just going to focus on the mechanical, like I said. We'll get everything solid, get it running, get it reliable. All the gears work. Clean up the wiring. New tires, I guess. I'm going to do that for sure. Service it and just drive it. See how it goes. Go from there and decide what I'm going to do next. So there you go. There's my 1938 Plymouth Sedan Deluxe Model P6.